of what we saw earlier was inside of the cup. The clouds, if we were talking about carbonation and cream of froth, the clouds could be also represented as fire in the sky. Now bear with me one moment. The electrons in fire are rapidly moving about. That's what makes the fire so hot, because the friction is always really like hot because the electrons are moving around really fast. And where are they going from? The wood that is burning is letting off electrons, and that's why fire is hot. In the Bible, there's a burning bush and it wasn't burning, meaning the fire of coming off of the logs or the bush's branches were not, they weren't getting scorched, charring, but the electrons were still coming off and there was fire. Side note, but in the sky, with the representation of carbonation, where you can see the carbonation is constant, moving around these little air bubbles sporadically. You can imagine that as being electrons moving around sporadically in the sky. Well, then it would be on fire if that were the sky on fire in Armageddon in the Bible. Conversions in display is framing. Back in the dinosaurs, when there was a meteor strike, a meteor strike. We're being striked right now by the media, surmounting in odd ways all around. There was the dinosaurs that had the meteor strike Earth, and when it did, it was so strong that fusion was enacted in the interaction of this meteor hitting. When it did that, the reaction implemented strong energy, so strong that it was that of like plasma scaling, turning glass from the meteor onto the atmosphere. Right, so instead of bubbles submerging out of water of a carbonated drink, the atmosphere had glass submerging out of, well, literally thin air, but it was implemented by the meteor crashing into it. Just as though you were cracking your can, the meteor was cracking the atmosphere, and instead of bubbles fizzing up, glass was falling down, circumnavigating everything in the atmosphere that it was made up of. It's made up of oxygen, and there's particles of water up in there. It took all of that and changed it into glass. The glass shards rained from the sky in the time of the dinosaurs during the meteor strike. Now, if there's one thing that was in the Bible, is fire from the sky. But in our past, we've had glass fall from the sky. Now, that's not exactly the sky is falling, but it is twice as dangerous. Or how about this one? The ground is chalking. Medusa turned objects into stone, where the ground, in some areas you'll find, is turning to chalk from clay. I don't know if this is natural or not. I see a mushroom, you know that's natural immediately. Dig and see if there's more of it. You can dig and see if there's more of it. This is one action with information that's plethored. One single action of it hitting the atmosphere plethors the amount of information it expels rather significantly. So the meteor didn't have to dig around to look for more clay or traverse around the atmosphere looking for things that would make glass the most. It hit the atmosphere so hard that anything that could be glass was sucked into its action and then expelled out with a radius of probably however far it had impacted upon. I don't know, but who the hell is walking near gnats are conducting a significant amount. We're not told how much amount of voltage is inside these green boxes. I can tell you that these gnats are conducting more than than not. It has like Alzheimer's and dementia, very similar, but they're actually on scalability different. These are my favorite. This is just too daunting. Keep out. If you're a welder, you're not breaking this box unless you have a weld or a hammer. Who the hell is going inside of a metal box? Yeah, good luck trying to get in. So just over my right shoulder is litter. Well, there's also over my left shoulder some more. Why this is important is that it's just too ironic that littering is a crime. And why I'm even pointing this out is because I keep running into these clouds of gnats. And that's kind of, to me, worse than litter because it's dangerous. The more ironic part is that I think the gnats are contributed by the littering. One thing why that's concerning is because there's a police officer outside just beyond the trash and litter, and that his job is to make everyone safe and to stop crime. Well, I don't feel safe, and there's litter of crime just beyond his view. I don't know if he's seen it or not, but if he was able to know that there is litter, would he like to know where it came from if he had that option? Let's find out. No, he doesn't care. I've tried talking to them before about masks on the ground and how that's litter and dangerous, and they were more willing to say that's someone else's job, giving me a phone number to further an investigation. If they didn't care that masks are littered on the ground, they're not going to care about some plastic that's littered on the ground, because that implies that it's less dangerous than a mask being mask. The mask would be the number one area for bad things to be, because masks are meant to keep bad things out. Ergo, it would be more dangerous because it would be an area of interest for bad things to be about. So now, ostensibly, it doesn't seem too erratic for me to walk up to a policeman and ask him if he would like to know about some litter. Well, all of a sudden, the frugal information could be something as important as someone getting closure from something bad happening, or if it was a serial, what have you, an occurrence reoccurring. You would be saving lives by telling the police officer, hey, there's some litter here, I think you should take a gander. And him saying, no, I don't want to, shame on him ignoring the safety. And why would I tell a policeman that there's litter on the ground, and wouldn't you like to know? Just the other day, I said I would like to know every spot that I walk across, if that had been a place where a person had passed in the past. And why that's so nefarious is that the information is so frugal that this could be a crime scene and me not even know it. Any litter can be a crime scene and you not even know it. In fact, it is a crime scene without it being apparent by you seeing it being littered. But even more so, it could be the crime scene of a homicide without you even knowing it. And specifically when it comes to clothing. And I guess the correlation that you could compensate would be equally disturbing, and measure that how you will. And if you put on a mask and you don't feel safe without it, you're training your body to feel broke. And the bacteria are taking that seriously. And that's actually the ailment that is conceived as you being conscious or not. That's what your DNA is thinking. Very much like if it can turn on or off is besides the point. If you can breathe with a mask on or off, that's okay, but it's more important to know that this thing is not upright in a stable position. The light that comes off of it, well, it's an inanimate object, so I'm not here to say that it's going to care if the light is in a disposition. But in any case, the light isn't in a disposition because it's shining from the ground. Its base of its its face, it's the face of the light, the head of the light is shining at the ground. The light will be contracted from shining as bright as it could be. You know, shine bright, shine far, be a star for who you are. Disney Channel. Classic. The other classic was Xenon. They had this one hit where it was like zoom, zoom, make my heart go boom, boom. This is Supernova Girl. And back to the heart being able to go boom, boom. The oxygen of intake is what your blood is moving. Your blood will be moving by your heart pumping. If your heart is pumping oxygen not through your blood in a decreased rate, that's in a disposition also. So when the light of that head of the light is shining from the ground and not from an upright position, instead of shining fully what it was made to do, it just has an extra filter on it, an extra lampshade. The lampshade is the ground, not the open area, because its mask is the ground. So if that light, all it cares to do is just shine as bright as it could, it's made to do, you put a lampshade on it, it's dimming it. And that would not only be nefarious, but it would be frivolous.